in the early stages of the game. And now the question is if TN wants to try and answer with something like the Viego, will give him not the best of matchups, but I think taking the Xayah here could work out great. But we're actually going to have the Galio again for Knight.
Blind pick Galio as the first lock-in. Not something we were expecting. Maybe some kind of crazy flex. Maybe we could see that going to support just to try and subvert expectations. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. As AD carries being hovered right now, would be normal to see an AD carry, and then I'd expect we see the Viego from TN for the third and final lock-in for top esports. It has to be, right?
Yeah, I imagine we get the Xayah here, but the big question is then, like, what does Xiaohu want to try and bring out in that mid lane? Because when you've got things like the Galio, maybe you open up things like the Corki if you really want to go for kind of like taking it easy. We've seen like the Twisted Fate can do like a little bit of like matching that mobility in the early stages as well, so maybe that's an option, or we'll have to see exactly what they want to go for. Aphelios, though, hovered by Gala, this was basically the trade back and forth in AD carry, so I don't think anyone's going to be too surprised to see this locked in.
It's kind of crazy, isn't it? Because when you think earlier in the split, Jinx was the story for so many teams, often prioritized over Aphelios. That's no longer the case since those early nerfs came on through. So now it's Aphelios and Xayah most of the time. For RNG, though, I would say likely a support here for the third pick.
Yeah, at least to like... I was kind of wondering if they go for the mid just because you could end up with more bans coming through here. And generally what we saw in the last time these two teams faced up was like you got your jungle AD carry locked in and then they always went for mid lane and then it was holding that counter pick for the top lane. But we are going to get Ming going towards the Leona in these early stages, so trying to put the pressure onto top esports going, hey look, are you going to take the jungle here and leave Mark out on his own? Because one of the big things that happened the last time these teams faced was a lot of back and forth in that bot lane. Gal and Ming getting advantages game 1. You see Jackie Love and Mark fighting back in game 2 with some duo kills for themselves. So I'm super excited to see how this bot lane matchup is now going to pair up.
I do feel like it'll be... I'm assuming this Viego will be locked in. There it is. I'm curious about what Mark ends up on, right? Because you can anticipate some support bans out from RNG. Yeah. The Rakan, obviously, because we've got the Xayah. Things like the Nautilus that Mark is super comfortable on. But then where do you go for Mark?
Even the Renata, I think, could be great here just because of like the super short-range composition RNG are running right now, right? I think you get a ton of value out of it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see something like the Nautilus, maybe, or Rakan. But I think the Renata could be a good takeaway as well. But also it just kind of sets up really nicely for top esports. You definitely want to try and have like a good amount of engage tools here with the Galio. You'd probably imagine something for Wayward, actually probably on the tankier side where he's got something like the Gragas or something like the Ornn on the top side, just to try and start off these fights and give the Galio a little bit of breathing room to be a bit more aggressive.
Let's see if that's going to be the lock-in. As it was a top lane ban in the end for RNG. As Orianna taken off the board here by top esports, trying to get rid of some of the safe mid laners from Xiaohu. And we'll see if they're going to go for the double mid lane bans here, or whether they're going to change things up and go for a solo lane ban as well.
So we are going to get, there's the Corki and there's the Orianna as well. So still kind of going, hey look, these control mages that can do relatively well against Galio, push him in, and kind of have like good late game scaling taken off the board. So for Xiaohu, you don't really want to go towards things like the Syndra. Maybe a Victor could be the option, but I mean, I think Victor, again, like the big issue is just giving so much control to the opposite mid jungle.
Would Azir not be the answer?
True.
Doesn't Azir just completely body Galio?
Yeah, I think Azir actually could be a really good pick here, especially when you look at like the ability to just like deny the engage, kind of put pressure into the fights, and just having that push that can be facilitated with the Lee Sin as well. And Lee Sin in that case can even look for invade, so maybe we see a bit more of an aggressive way than we have in previous series. But I mean, a lot's still open with the Rakan ban coming through. I imagine a Nautilus, or actually maybe even the set here for Mark that is kind of creeped up as this counters the Leona.
To see the set being hovered right here. Technically a flex. I could still see the set going top, the Galio support, and then we have a counter pick for
maybe.
It's
but
possible.
I think it'll be really nice on the bot side. You got a good matchup with Leona with this set, and now you've got that tool that can still set up for that Galio that we're looking at, right? Like grab one of the front line, bring them in, and bring Galio along with you. So I think for top esports, kind of rounding out nicely here and still holding that counter pick for Wayward. We'll have to see Xiaohu hovering the Vex. We know how good Xiaohu is on this champion, and I'd be super excited to see this. Just the opportunity to try and again like double up on this engage. But I have to say, when you're playing like Lee Sin who wants to get in top of you, Leona, Vex, now an Aphelios who's super short range as well, I think Knight's going to get a lot of value out of this Galio.
I mean, for my money, Xiaohu is the best Vex in the LPL. We've seen so many insane highlight clips, so many fights that he has individually won. And we have another Yordle locked in for that top lane for Bin to finish it out. But Wayward, he's not interested in this swapping around on the map here. He's looking for a counter pick.
I mean, we just saw what he was able to do against V5 on this pick with the Aurelia. Maybe he wants to go back towards it. I think the Tryndamere could work wonders here as well. You've got great side lane pressure with the Galio. Now you can add that with the Tryndamere. Same idea with the Aurelia. And yeah, we just saw the double kill he picked up against Carson Rich. So, I mean, does he get take 2 here for Wayward?
That'll be the big question. Wayward on Aurelia. And this is a champion that Bin is individually known for as well. Like, Bin has a reputation for being the best Aurelia in Chinese solo queue. So, Wayward kind of taking one of Bin's signature picks against him here. Very exciting top lane. I'm really curious, though, how these mid laners are going to interact. Because, first off, it's just Knight versus Xiao, who is always going to be exciting. But the blind Galio, I feel like, is a very controversial strategy. It's something that I don't know a single analyst who would recommend blinding Galio.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the blind Galio, but I think the thing that you have to watch out for here is, like, especially because you're taking that Galio in the mid, the push that can come through from Vex, right? She pushes you under a tower, suddenly you open up Lee Sin maybe for some invades. Like, the problem that I'm seeing is that, like, where RNG struggled in the last Top Esports series was in these early skirmishes and with the pressure that was coming through from Top Esports in the early stages. It doesn't feel like you're going to have that same impact here for Top Esports when you've mid so heavily shoved in. You have the potential to try and, like, play through your top side, but honestly, I think if you, like, start to lean there with RNG, it makes it very hard for this Aurelia for Wayward to play aggressive. So for Top Esports, I'm super curious to see how they try and play this one out, because for RNG, it feels like you push mid, you start to set up for the dragons that RNG like, and it starts to become a very easy RNG game plan to kind of play down towards this bottom side of the map.
So RNG looking towards that bottom side, and Knight, he'll be looking towards whichever side lane he can get to. But I'm loving this set Galio combo, right? When things go down in that bottom side, the amount of CC and disruption they can bring to the table is terrifying. But Dagda, enough about the compositions. We're jumping onto Summoner's Rift. It's game number 1 of our Spring 2022 LPL Finals. It's a rematch of our upper bracket final as well. RNG as the first seed coming on in from the upper bracket here, up against Top Esports, who had to make their way through that lower bracket.
And you know the gloves are going to be off. They're going to just be throwing haymakers left and right, trying to see who can get that big advantage. And I mean, I think when you come down to, like, how these early team fights, these early skirmishes have gone, you kind of lean in favor of Top Esports, but at least the way they've been playing, right? We've seen that RNG have been a little bit messy when it comes to trying to set up for these early skirmishes. Way has been going too far forward, kind of getting caught out. It's why the desk highlighted that, you know, he hasn't had the best of times, but it feels like with the composition that RNG have drafted, maybe it'll make things a little bit easier for them to set up towards these early neutrals.
And I just want to quickly mention as well that this is a little bit personal for the players on Top Esports. This isn't just about, you know, org versus org. When we think about TN, he almost made it to MSI last year. He was denied by RNG in the finals. When you think about Knight and Jackulov, the best year these guys had on Top Esports was in 2020. Guess who knocked them out of the World Championship? It was Bin in the top lane back when he was on Suning. So there's a lot of personal rivalry that's going to be coming in. So Top Esports, they're going to have to try and keep a cool head and not get too aggressive.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of Bin, it feels like Tien and Knight are definitely going to be trying to play around this top side, right? You got the Aurelia, she wants to play aggressive in this matchup to try and force back the Gnar. And I mean, having things like the Galio here to try and support that, Tien potentially being able to play up towards this top side is going to be wonderful for Wayward. And we know what he's capable of doing when he's able to get ahead on this Aurelia. So I think a lot of what Way is going to be trying to do in these early stages is, hey, look, if it can make a gank happen, great. But honestly, I think kind of trying to coordinate yourselves to deny TN access into that top side and trying to pick up some of these dragons in the early stages is going to be your best bet.
Yeah, we did also mention that Way possibly could play towards this bottom side. Speaking of which, engage straight onto Mark Gala, level 2 here. Mark forced a flash. Ignite was used, but Mark will survive.
And this is what we've seen so consistently in this bot lane for Jackulov and Mark versus Gala and Ming. Aggressive plays very early to try and blow those summoner spells. See if you can be more dominant in the 2v2. And it's actually interesting to see how Gala and Ming have kind of progressed as a duo, because last year it was all about Ming roaming up towards Xiao in the top lane. But now when we look at Gala and Ming, there's so much more about this duo in the bot lane. Like, if you look at our round 4 onwards carries in the bot lane and their supports, they've got the highest duo proximity out of any other team.
Yeah, it's kind of insane, honestly, that 2v2 prowess that we're so used to seeing. And, you know, I'm just going to take this opportunity while we have a quiet early game to talk about another bit of a rivalry that we have on this one. kind of frenemies, if you will, because Gala and Mark, they talked about it on the analyst desk. These guys played together for 701 days as a duo. That is an insanely long time. But it feels like for Mark, he's had a turbulent time since those two parted ways, right? He bounced around a couple of teams, LGD, BLG. He was all over the place for the LPL. Whereas Gala, he jumped onto RNG and immediately went on to win MSI. It's a tale of two divergent paths that totally changed. And now I feel like Mark wants a bit of that love himself. Maybe Knight will be the one receiving love as way hovering in the mid lane. I don't think it's going to happen for now.
No, just as Knight, like, trying to get this wave shoved in, but Wei is going to back away, try and get his first reset in. Ming already, though, doing a nice job of, like, trying to clear out these wards, but I think the timers will already be there for Knight, so, like, a good amount of information now for TN to see exactly where Wei is going to be, but I think the big question is what happens when we hit the level 6 in this game, because that feels like when, you know, Knight has access to that ultimate Xiao, who can be a little bit more aggressive with the roams. I think that's where we're going to see a lot of early action.
So I want to talk a little bit about this set support you can see on your screen right now, because Mark obviously known to be a fairly aggressive player, Set definitely an aggressive pick, but I feel like a lot of our audience won't necessarily know how this Set Leona matchup interacts. How does Set influence the game as a support?
So the real nice thing for the Set is that Leona has to kind of hop in on top of you, right, to make sure that she can make those plays happen. So you end up having the face breaker, which can oftentimes end up stunning the Leona. You get this big old shield that makes it really hard for you to be the engage tool. And as well, then you get that true damage back. So you bypass a lot of the extra resistances that the Leona gets off her W, which is just fantastic in that scenario. Plus, when you hit level 6, right, Leona tries to go for engage, you send her absolutely packing, and maybe back in on top of her own AD carry and turn that play around. So it just dilutes a lot of the pressure that Leona has.
Not only do you send her packing, but then a Galio flies in on top of you and follows up for the CC. I mean, there is a huge amount of CC.
You get the full airport experience, you know, pack the bag, send it flying,
Not only do you find a landing zone, then another plane lands immediately afterwards. Bit of a collision on the runway. We've got a Dragon starting off, though. Speaking of flying things, top esports, first ones on the board here. As you can see, a reset coming through from RNG's bot lane.
Yeah, just a really nice timing here from Tien, kind of going, hey, look, you know, we've got the TP coming in from Knight into the mid lane. Xiao, who hasn't really got the push there, and he's using the fact that Gala Ming had the first reset in bot to actually push this in while have Jacqueline and Mark push in bot so they can then rotate over to Dragon. So nice job here, but we said already that Wei did want to try and see if he could keep Wayward in check, and that's his goal right now.
We've seen Wayward in 2v1s under tower on Aurelia before. We saw it in the last series of the LPL, and he got 2 kills off the back of it.
These two champions as well.
It might well be that it happens again. Wayward gets the double stun. Obviously, can't really follow up. Doesn't want to leave the tower. Is level 5 currently, but he's got to be so close to hitting that level 6 mark, and it looks like RNG back away, and immediately the Amumu comes out. Wayward and his emote game. Name a more iconic duo.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can see the sad guys at RNG run away, but you also had Knight leaning there, so kind of rightfully going, look, this is going to be a bad time, folks. So they back away out of that top side. Now Tien, though, going to try and respond on this bottom half of the map, and if you can get control here at 6.5 minutes, I mean, sets up for a potential rotation up towards that Rift Herald as well in just a little bit of time.
Forget this Viego, one of Tien's most significant champions. Gala might be in trouble here. In they go, looking for the CC. Not really able to go forwards. It's actually just Mark taking a whole heap of damage. And honestly, that was kind of just botched from top esports.
Yeah, not able to get it going as much as they'd like to, but Mark getting the Hex Flash failing a little bit, and then not being able to get him in to get the stun means that whole play falls apart. Still, though, they do get push in bot lane, which if they can crash it, could set them up for the rotate up towards the Herald. But I mean, you actually look at Gala and Ming, who kind of held that wave in front of their tower, so now they'll be the ones with the slow push and bot.
Going to be in a good position in that 2v2, and we keep on talking about how strong that 2v2 is. But across the board, everything just about even. There's an ever so slight CS lead for Gala in the bottom side, but as you say, like, that'll push towards.
But that's the big thing for Gala, right? Like, when you look at how good he's been over the course of playoffs, right? 40% of the team's damage, but Gala and Ming are the only people in playoffs on RNG who have had that positive gold lead, right? You're looking at 690 gold on average for Gala ahead at the 15-minute mark, which is absolutely insane. This is the lane that is performing from RNG, and you're seeing it once more in this game.
Could be in trouble. Wayward dodging it. That was gorgeous. I mean, it's only a trade. It won't lead to anything, but just, it's so fun to watch Wayward play Aurelia.
I mean, it's fun to watch Wayward in general, right?
Yeah,
like,
true.
I know Ox has become absolutely infatuated with him. Loves this man. His emote game is on point. He's been an absolute carry. Rookie of the split as well. And to see Wayward, like, going up against names like Bin, like the Shy, like taking on legends in the LPL and coming out on top.
And it's his rookie split. It's
Yeah.
his rookie split. He got rookie of the split, and now he's made his way to finals. Tien wants to try and set him up, the man in the top lane himself, but won't find the opportunity for now. Just going to be shadowing, hovering. Remember, that Herald is up right now, and you can see 80 carries moving up towards the top side of the map. Dagda, we may have a fight on our hands.
Yeah, and this is where I get a bit nervous because we talked about how RNG haven't been able to find these early skirmishes. This is where we get to see how much they've improved leading into finals.
That's a little nerve-wracking for Mark. That Zenith Blade was a hair from landing. Top Esports, though, pressuring from the top side. Now Jackie Love has arrived on the scene. Fear goes on. Mark just goes in. In comes Galio, but Mark's already fallen. First blood for RNG, and now the follow-up from Top Esports, wanting to answer. They find one for themselves. It's an even trade.
It was a nice attempt from Mark, but the stun comes in before he can get the Haymaker shield, and he falls. So now, RNG still with Jungler, same with Top Esports, and they're still standing here.
They certainly are, and Bin not too far away from hitting that Mega Gnar. Knight has his ult on cooldown. That's a huge tool for Top Esports. They're being surrounded. They're going for the engage, though. Stuns onto Ming, but he's damn tanky. He's difficult to kill, but not hard enough. Bin in the middle of everyone, trying to cause disruption, but it's too little and it's too late. RNG forced away.
And Top Esports once more winning out on these early skirmishes. You get the quick pick onto Xiaohu, and with no mid laner, there's not enough damage for RNG to carry that fight. And Top will get their bounty of that Rift Herald.
And I'm not going to lie, that didn't look that great for Top when I was seeing RNG concave around them. It felt like RNG had the positional advantage, but I was wrong. Top Esports were the ones to pull the trigger.
I actually got a bit nervous here. I feel like with Mark and Knight being able to just sandwich them, they're going to be in trouble, but you can see not able to get the extra little bit of CC down, or at least get the shield onto Mark, means that Way's able to get him out. You end up losing Xiaohu as part of the equation, though, and this means that when you come to this, you've got a mid laner, you've got that 80 carry as well here for Top Esports, and Way already forced to the fight. No kick means he doesn't really have the extra damage you need, and Gala is only sitting on that Noon Quiver. He's not enough damage to try and take this fight.
And Way would just destroyed Way at the end of that fight as well. The damage is crazy, but I just love watching Mark play. Like, the fact that he goes for that engage, he knows that they're all in that brush, he just flashes in, he's like, bring it on, boys! And sure, he goes down, but setting the team up for success. I just love watching that kind of players. Tien gonna be trying to get this Scuttle Crab, will spot out Ming, force him away. Second dragon on the map here, Dagda. Feels like Top Esports all about objectives.
Yeah, and I think it's great because when you look at Wayward, who's actually he's just TP'd into the top side. But I was going to say Wayward, Blade of the Rune King completed, but here we go.
Oh, Mark starting yet another fight. Who could have seen this coming? The Haymaker comes out this time, and he'll survive. Nobody dropping for the time being as Tien will grab the Drake, trying to back away. The taunt comes out from Knight, though. The CC chain sets up a kill for Jackie Love. And now RNG wants some revenge. Ming goes into the back of the fight. Xiaohu there, but low on mana. Still going to be able to follow up, though. Mark steps forward, buys space for his team. The Haymaker, the sacrifice, but Top Esports got the Drake.
Yet they just had no TP. Wayward used his teleport to get to top side, so Bin was like, fantastic, I'll TP to mid turret, I can join into this fight, and we'll have the advantage that we need in numbers. So 2-for-1 trade, but as you say, second dragon going across. A couple of turret plates probably going to go across on that top side of the map as well to Wayward. So, I mean, the gold going to be relatively even, but having that second dragon is going to be super nice for top.
And that's one of the things that can be brutal. When Aurelia stays in that top side, she can stack her passive on the minion wave, then get onto the tower. Like, it's easy two-plate shred, at least. If he gets more time, then maybe more, but I think he'll want to go for the reset.
And that's the thing, right? You already got Wayward, who's going to be taking a obnoxious amount of gold now into that top lane, right? But because you've already got two dragons, you don't have to fight dragons anymore. Now, it is Top Esports. I'm probably going to fight the dragons. But what I'm saying is you don't have to fight the dragons in this scenario, right? And we've seen Wayward and Knight, like, before, where they kind of link up in a side lane and they try to play as, like, this duo where you catch people out. And especially if Wayward is so far accelerated, that could be the play. But I think one of the big issues that we've seen with Top Esports is that they're not very comfortable playing in these side lanes. It's why we see them going for team fights a lot. So we'll have to see if they can try and play some sort of 1-3-1 or, like, double up in a lane lane to cause issues for RNG.
I mean, that would be the big question, right? But as you say, realistically, the way Top Esports has won games is just brawling. And if there's one thing you can say about this composition, it wants to brawl. Like, I feel like they've set themselves up to just say, look, we've got the lead, we'll power forwards. My question then is, what do you do as RNG, right? You're 2 Drakes down, you're behind in gold, you've taken a couple of skirmishes, but neither have really quite worked out for you. That last one was the closest to a victory, but ultimately too late for the Drake. Like, what's the change in game plan for the rest of the game?
I think the biggest thing that RNG need to do is make sure that they're setting up vision control around these objectives, because when you think of like people that can come in on a flank and absolutely ruin their days, you've got this Aurelia, but you've also got the set, right? And if the set finds this flank, maybe ends up cupping up Gala, slamming him into the team, well, now you've got the Galio that's coming in on top of him. Now he's got more issues than he can really deal with. And Xiaohu, we've seen him carry, like hard carry on this this Vex before, but the big issue that you're seeing is that, like, hey, look, we don't always have enough in the tank, right? Like, if you end up having Top Esports who are all super healthy because they've just had this 1-2 punch that has decimated RNG, it's not going to work out too well. Now, we're just going to hop into the replay here, and you kind of get the idea of what Mark is trying to go for, right? Consistently trying to find these big showstoppers to set up Knight to follow up, but didn't have it in this situation. And when you've already got the TP coming in from the Nar as well, despite the pick going on to 8, Top Esports just needs to call it quits at this stage. It's a 4v4. You've already committed pretty much everything to the initial skirmish, so now with round 2 starting, you just don't have anything left.
Yeah, so Mark just sacrifices himself, and I love that we saw on that initial engage, Mark goes in. Ming actually managed to get the Q stun onto him as the showstopper started, so when he lands, he can't pull anyone in, he can't get the stuns off. It means he can't finish his combo. I like what you did there as well. When you're explaining that, you're saying how Mark sets up the rest of the play. Very, very smart wordplay.
I'm going to accidentally do that the entire way through this game.
Yeah, definitely feels like one where Mark very willing to be aggressive so far, and I love to see that, because Mark is one of these players where when he's feeling it, he's an absolute beast. But some days he just doesn't feel like he's quite on top.
I was going to say, when he's not feeling it, everyone else in the audience feels it, because you're kind of cringe going, oh, you shouldn't have missed that. But, I mean, those things have kind of been more of like the LGD days, right? Where we're kind of looking going, hey, you know, these Leona ults are going wide, the Zenith blades aren't hitting, but I actually has been a little bit more consistent, I will say, in Top Esports. We still see smidgens of it, but Mark certainly on the set, going to make things a hell for RNG here.
Oh, we got a taunt onto Ming. There's a showstopper as well. Everybody pulled in. Xiaohu doesn't get to move, and Ming stuck on the wrong side of the wall, doesn't have flash. He gets the Zenith blade off to safety. He actually escapes. The feathers don't hit Ming. Somehow getting away with murder on this one. They still lose their mid laner, and crucially, that was a bounty too.
Somehow Ming's been watching a lot of Houdini videos at the moment, apparently, because I don't know how he managed to escape from that one, but Top Esports still turning these plays around, consistently finding these where plays where RNG are that bit overextended. They're catching RNG on rotation to the play, and they're just doing a really good job of matching it.
Certainly are, as we've got a 3-man group here on the bottom lane. I think Wei should be able to just defend the tower. As you can see the replay in the bottom right, Bin needs to be a little cautious. Wayward could just go for an all-in. He's just going to back away.
So I think this game now is starting to kind of divert into 2 different areas, right? We're looking at Top Esports, who do have just a small goal lead of 1,000, but a lot of that is going to be on Wayward, right? Full tower, full plates on that top side, already have the Blade of the Rune King completed, but when you look at that bottom half of the map, that's again where Gala is going to be the big one that we're looking at. Actually, Bin as well with a good amount there, as actually you can see the player go on the left-hand side. But, I mean, already got that Gale Force completed. He's starting to ramp up, and it feels like he's going to be the big hope for RNG once more when we get into these fights. Like, it's been the story of RNG all playoffs long.
Certainly has, relying on Gala to be that character. And I feel like it's so exciting to see the evolution of Gala, right? We talked about Mark and Gala on DMO. We talked about the fact that he joined RNG and just had success, but that's not quite the whole story. When he first joined RNG, it felt like Gala had a full split of like a warming up period almost, the cooling off period. Like it didn't quite mesh. But then once we got to that first playoffs last year, that's when Gala started to mesh with the team.
Yeah, it really felt like once he got that big play in spring 2021, that was kind of where the confidence for Gala came through. But we'll have to see if he can provide that for RNG here again.
Looks like RNG grouping up here. Remember, Drake up in 35 seconds, so a good opportunity. Dagda, you said you wanted to see vision control for RNG on these objectives. Well, they've not been able to grab it so far. Just the entrance to the river, a ward in the back of the pit, but no control of the river itself.
Yeah, but look at this red ward, the control ward that's in at the back of red. You've got TP for Wayward up very soon. They can attack from multiple different angles, but Mark forced to flash away. He was not where he's supposed to be.
I think he knew what was going on, though. I think he was trying to be as cheeky as he could. Flashes away, keep himself safe, has that Hex Flash, remember. Look at Wayward in the top side right now, pushing onto a tier 2. RNG want to go for this Drake, but how much are they willing to trade for it? Because Wayward has that TP.
And this is so smart from top, right? Like, pulling RNG across. This is not what we saw from them a lot of the times, but, oh, they're being called in. They're hearing the call of the battle, Munch.
Yeah, Wayward is waiting in the brush. He's going to go for the TP. That ward you talked about earlier is the target. Bin almost Mega Gnar Wayward behind enemy lines. It's just going to be Top Esports pulling the Drake away from RNG. It resets. Dagda, this is going to be a 5v5.
Oh, we're always going to fight here. The haymakers are going to come, but the question is, can RNG deny? Can they dodge the first punch thrown by Top Esports? It's going to be so crucial.
We're looking for Mark's engage. We're looking for Knight's follow-up on top of it. We're looking for a 50-50 on the Drake at this rate. Mark going in, trying to get onto Gala, but the haymaker is not really enough. Now Knight on top, but it's too little too late. RNG got the Drake, they've got a kill, and Gala wants a little bit more damage onto Knight. But looks like Top Esports will back away.
Again, these mid to late game fights are coming in clutch for RNG. Somehow Top Esports always win the early skirmishes. RNG seem to have their number in these later game fights, playing it slow, playing it calculated, and with Mark just taking that step too far forward, RNG get the dragon and the kill.
Dagda, you know, I may be a monkey brain play-by-play, but to me, that didn't feel like a fight Top Esports needed to take. They had Wayward in the top side, there was no TP for Bin. I feel like they could have just gone for the trade with the tower.
I mean, that's what we said about Top Esports already, right? I was so proud of them. I was so happy for them coming into that fight. I thought, you know what, this is growth. This is character development for Top Esports, where they try and play through side lanes, where they use Wayward's ability to have these, like, this massive lead and this TP to play for the tower instead. But they try to take the fight, and it just comes back to bite them.
But this is the thing about Top Esports. They don't. Oh, hang on. This is a double TP towards Wayward. I think he should be able to just get away. He's got a tower here. Yeah, I think he's fine. Double TP kind of wasted on this one. Bit of a weird play from RNG.
Yeah, surprised to see them commit the double TP there, especially like when you talk about the ability for Top Esports to try and play sides with like Knight, maybe have a double up coming through where he tries to play around Wayward as well, and they look for the pick. It just seems strange for RNG to try and commit that many resources with, you know, nothing really on the map for them to gain in this situation. Like, there's no dragon or like fishing for objective vision at Baron or anything. It's just trying to see if they can make that work before anything could really come from it.
I fear for RNG though now, because Knight has that TP. Wayward's TP will be up and available much sooner than Bin and Xiaohu, and Baron's going to be on the map in just over a minute. We know Top Esports are more than happy to play around Baron from that 20-minute mark. I feel like with the teleports, they can really use and abuse that map.
Yeah, and I think that's where, again, we'll have to see if Top Esports are able to do it, or if they do get baited into these fights, right? Because, you've got Baron in 50 seconds, but can you really do it that quickly as Top Esports? Not really. As oh, here comes the TP.
Bin trying to make a play under the tower. Wayward, though, threatening the dive. TP from Knight. Everfrost goes ever so slightly wide. And it will just be the Top Esports solo laners backing away. Bin hurls a house at them as a parting gift.
Yeah, just trying to see if they can make a play happen on that bot side, because they know Xiaohu's pushing in fully in the top. So seeing if they can make something happen and trying to get some advantage out of the TP play, or TP summoner spell up that they had. But now TN coming bot with Mark. We're having a party in the bot lane.
We certainly are. Top Esports want to finish this tower if it's the death of them. And it's possible that it would be, but looks like for now, RNG going to back away. They were trying to pressure in the mid lane and the top lane.
Yeah, I like that they didn't drop the Herald that they had, though, because you can see, look, you're going to get that regardless. Now they have the opportunity to toss this mid, especially with RNG out of position, and Top Esports basically bullying the members of RNG out of their own jungle.
I love this transition to the mid lane. As you say, Herald in pocket for TN, and you can imagine that'll be slammed down here to finish the mid tier 1. Gala with a Moonlight Vigil. A little surprised to see that one. Maybe they can DPS this. Herald Smite available for Way if they can hit the eye. There we have it. RNG very nicely defended.
Especially when you look at the map state, right? You got the push in from Xiaohu on top side. He gets the top lane turret, so you're trading on the bot, and you never actually lose anything off of the Rift Herald charge. So for RNG, they're keeping this game stable, and look at the gold lead. This game couldn't be closer if you tried.
And I love that because both of these teams love a team fight, and especially when we get to the mid game, that feels like where RNG come alive. So the early game strength that we've historically seen from top esports, they have been strong, but a couple of key mistakes has meant they don't have a big lead going into the mid game, and that makes me start to think that RNG might be the favorites now moving forwards.
Yeah, and that's where I'm nervous. You know, we saw that big Baron throw in game number 3. Game number 3 against RNG for top esports, where RNG were able to bring it back. Game 2, they had some spectacular team fighting that we've already kind of got hints of in this game as well, that brought that game back from the brink. So we really need to see if top esports have learned, if they've been able to go right. We know how the mistakes that we've learned from what we've made mistakes with in past playoffs, and if they can find this win in game number 1, because Gala ramping up now, nearly got that Bloodthirster as well. He's going to be strong.
The thing is, though, top esports don't learn that. They don't think. They follow the call of the mojo. Yeah. Whatever the mojo tells them, that's what they do. It explains the player had Dragon earlier. It explains a lot of shenanigans that come out from top esports. But trying to play 1-3-1 at least for now, which I feel like is the right setup for them on the map. But the question, honestly, like, this game, I feel, is going to give us an idea of what's going to happen for the rest of the series on this decision-making from top esports.
Well, it's not about the top esports decision-making. They're taking Dragon. RNG would have traded for the pick on Wayward and maybe Baron after.
Is this worth? Wayward goes for the flash. Xiaohu gets the fear, though. This should be one dead Aurelia. Can Wayward get the resets? Absolutely not. That's too much CC. Locked down and taken down. Top esports with a Drake, trying to threaten the mid lane as well. Perhaps can get a tier 1 tower.
I mean, if you end up trading the tier 1 tower and you get Dragon, I mean, that's a massive trade-up for top esports. RNG needed to try and make something happen at the Baron, or even try and collapse on mid lane, but they didn't end up going for it. You end up using Bin's ult and Xiaohu's ultimate in the play, so you don't actually end up in a position where you can try and trade for any of the neutrals or any other objectives on the map. And I think this was just RNG going, look, we don't have control over the river on this bot side. Like, look at the vision control that's there for top esports. So they say, hey, look, we'll try and make a pick on towards Wayward in the top side for something back. But now top on third, Dragon, Soul in 4 minutes for this top esports team.
I kind of like the way that Xiaohu is TPing. While neither of the TPs has been immaculate, so far this game, the 2 TPs to try and catch out solo lanes from top esports, I like the idea from RNG, right? Trying to play around, finding a numbers advantage and doing something else on the map. Unfortunately, though, the timing hasn't been right, because they haven't been able to set themselves up for a big objective. And now the second time, they end up actually losing objective.
But it's like, I'd rather see them try and like get a little bit more, right? Like when you make that TP, try and look for, hey, we're going to get vision control in topside jungle. Now we can start to play off of that into maybe getting top tier 2. Maybe we can rotate someone through the fog of war in topside jungle into mid. But you can see they haven't placed that vision. Top esports get back onto the map, push all the waves back into where now it's top esports with the control, and it's only that 1 kill you've gotten for a trade of a Dragon and Terror. It just isn't worth it at the end of the day. So now we got to see how can RNG utilize the fact that top esports are just shoving into them.
They want to fight. They want to just muscle their way in. Knight trying to just engage Galio here, but he's locked up on the way out. Flashes to his team. Solar Flare in. Mark has to play defense. Bin in the back line is beautiful. And now the rest of RNG can follow up. Jackie Love alive, though, and gets one onto Bin. In comes Knight to the rest of the team. 4v4. Ming on the front line. Tien has to ult away. Ming tanking up. He's gone straight for the back line. The rest of the team can't follow, though. Turns Golden. Wayward onto Gala, but he's turning Golden himself. Can't quite finish the kills. His way on the back line, but Wayward can't finish the kill here. It's a close fight between the 2 teams.
It's a 3-for-2 at the end of the day, and when Bin got that immaculate Gnar ult off, it looked like it was going to be all RNG, but Knight able to keep RNG at bay. Top esports right themselves, and they come back into the fight. You'll see it here. Over-aggression, 100% from Knight here, trying to see if he can get onto the backline, but realizes no one from top esports can follow up. And this is where Bin pops off. This ultimate is gorgeous. It means that Jackie Love has to burn the cleanse, burn the ult to get out, but once Knight starts to buy space, this is where you see the issue. This short-range composition, this composition that wants to be up in your face and personal, has to deal with the Galio, and it buys time, buys space for top esports. At least can nearly get some of these kills back from Wayward, but Gala just able to stay up.
Wayward almost finishes Gala there. That was damn close. The Bloodthirster literally saving Gala's life in that situation. So fair play to Wayward, but Bin, the better top laner in this situation. That Gnar ultimate setting everything up. But now, a minute 30 until the next Drake. And for top esports, that's Soul.
And that's where you're going to have issues here for RNG because, again, the vision control firmly in favor of top esports. They got a ton in this bottom side of the map, and even Mark placing more there at the back of the pit. And you can see they're already trying to set up for this, right? You reset here in about 15 seconds, come back in, defend your vision, and when you're RNG trying to work through these small corridors into river, it's going to be a nightmare. Mark is going to have a great time because you're all going to be clumped up trying to move through these small channels. Same for Jackie and the Feathers, Knight with the taunt. It's so easy for top esports if you just funnel into these one spots.
And I feel like that's the crucial thing about that last fight, right? Is they weren't letting RNG play to them. Yeah. Top esports were brute forcing that fight. Like Knight just walking forwards for a taunt. That's not usually how you're meant to play Galio. Oh, hang on. This is how you're meant to play Aurelia, though. Going forward, Ming the target. Shadow Surge in. Here comes Xiaohu. But Knight in to save the day. Wade trying to get a kick, but it's Wayward knocked sideways instead. Bit of lifesteal there, finally falls, but top esports winning the fight. Haymaker from Mark to finish another one, but Gala stacking the shurikens, finds one, dodges the feathers, moving forward, staying with his team as TN has to back off the bottom side of the fight, and somehow it's a 2-for-2. TN playing with fire on this one, jumps over the wall, looking for a 1v1 in the jungle against Wei. Doesn't have ultimate available. Knight moving over to protect his jungler. It's a 2-for-2.
I cannot believe some of the escapes that we're seeing in this game, but you can see top esports thought they had the pick. Xiao who turns around, and now the dragon is alive. TN is low.
It's so important that TN survived that last play. Wait! But now he wants to go into Wei, looking for the kills. Jackie Love finds Bin over the wall. Wei forced out of the play on this one. TN's smite almost up. Wei's only halfway on cooldown.
The two TPs are coming in, though. We're still going to have a fight, Munch. TN is so low, even a stiff breeze could take him down. And Gala wants to see if he can match with Xiaohu and get in on top.
TN crucially almost has his ult available again, but almost is the word. Doesn't quite have it, but I think the Drake... Oh! Xiaohu finds the stars! Shadow Surge into the pit. It's too late. Dragon still goes the way of top esports.
The Dragon resetting was so close there. Maybe RNG could have turned around, but Xiaohu does get the pick. Now, Wei is back up. RNG can move up towards the Baron. Top esports have no vision here. They're going in completely blind, Munch.
The little tiger himself, Xiaohu, makes the hero play on Vex. We said this guy's Vex was good, and boy is he living up to that expectation. Baron being burnt down. No TN, remember, no smite, but a TP into the mid lane from Knight.
Yeah, now he's in range to get the ultimate Mark. Trying to see if he can grab Gala. Gala has no idea the Mark is there.
Knight behind enemy lines. They're going on to Ming here. Mark onto the rest of the team. Jackie Love moving forward. Wayward is here as well. Gala's in trouble on this one, but Wayward whiffs the ulti. Wei finishes the Baron. Top esports need the fight, but Jackie Love is down. Mark has to run away. Wayward has nothing in the tank as Knight will fall as well, but Wei finds Wayward. He tries to turn it around, but he hasn't got it in him. And RNG find yet another fight.
And top esports look at the winning ticket. Their Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is crumbling in front of their eyes as once more they get this great early game. They get 4 dragons, but they're losing the mid game on Barons.
That's it. They saw the river. They thought it was chocolate, but they floated away, unfortunately. And again, RNG versus top. We see Baron beat top's downfall.
And this again is just like already messy from top esports. You get Mark who's gone in beautifully onto Gala. I was like, Knight's gonna come in. This is the fight. Jackie Love follows up the 1, 2, 3 and you're down, but we don't get it. I end up in a situation where they try and aggress onto Xiaohu. Knight can't follow up. Mark is left high and dry, and by the time that the combo comes through, RNG are no longer where they once were.
13-10 on the scoreboard, but now the goal difference, we talked about it 20 minutes, it was dead even. 4,000 in RNG's favor now. But that Mountain Soul, worth a lot of gold in of itself. And key breaking points across the board here with Jackie hitting 3 items, Wayward hitting 3 items, but it's a similar story for RNG.
And it's Gala that I'm keeping my eyes on, right? That Infinity Edge now complete. He becomes even more of a threat. You're looking at Xiaohu as well, who has that Void Staff, so any sort of magic resist that's going to come through on the opposite side is just going to be negligible. So now RNG are the ones with the push.
Crucially, Way on 3 items on the jungle. It's not something you often see at this point in the game, but he's feeling strong, and if he can find a kick, he's got a GA, so he can be real aggressive.
I love the build coming through from Bin as well, getting that early Punk Sword as well, just so then you can make sure that Wayward can't heal, Tien gets less, Mark even as well to a certain extent. Like, it works out super well across the board for what top esports are trying to do, and having that come through onto the top laner when Bin is in Meganar means you're spreading that across multiple different members here on top esports.
So I think the Baron play is over. I feel like the Purple Worm is out of play now. We've got 45 seconds, but the resets come through from RNG. I'm not sure they'll be able to get too much more. But in 3 minutes' time, we're going to see Elder Dragon onto the map. And that's where things get real scary. That's where I don't trust these teams not to 50-50. Mark has been found by Way. I don't think Way will be able to find a kick, though. Stun comes out from Wayward. So Mark will back off. Jackie needs to be careful. I'm surprised Way didn't go for a kick on Jackie there. I feel like that was a potential opportunity.
Yeah, instead of flash, instead of ult, so might have been putting himself into a bad spot if he tried to get onto Jackie Love. But, I mean, all RNG are trying to do is play this slow, right? They know that they now firmly have control of the map, so getting vision in this top side, rotating now up towards the top lane with just 4 seconds left in the Baron buff. They'll make quick use of it to make
look at
one
Wayward.
more terror happen.
Okay, Wayward just backs away. Decides against it.
Wait!
He can't back away. The Moonlight Vigil knocks him into his GA. This is a huge pick. This is a game-changing pick. But the Feathers onto Way in the meantime. He tried to find a pick of his own, and now he might bit off more than he can chew. Resurrects once more. Bin is pushed towards Jackie Love. That ain't it. Galio over the rest of the team, but the damage might have already been done. Gala onto the back line once more. Red and white as he shreds through the health bars. Knight surely will fall, but it doesn't matter because Xiaohu's the man of the hour.
A triple kill for Xiaohu. Gala forcing back top esports, and just like that, when top esports had control for so long in this game, RNG can end right now.
Wayward tries to get cheeky with it, tries to make this sneaky play in the brush, but it doesn't work out for him. Taunt comes out from Knight. He is tanky under that tower, doing his best to defend. One Nexus tower falls, but I think Knight might have done it by himself, holding on.
How many times have we seen this from Knight, holding on top esports base by a thread? But look across the board here. You're looking at 309 coming in for Gala. You're looking at 7 kills now for Xiaohu. And again, control of the map in favor of RNG.
And I feel like Knight has been playing his heart out this game, right? 2-0-10.
This split.
He has had, well, you're absolutely right. He's got 10 stacks on his Dark Seal as well, but he's on Galio. And I hate to see Knight on Galio because I feel like this is not the pick he can carry on. I want to keep my eyes on Xiaohu here, though, in the replay.
Yeah, I love here, by the way, that Way went in aggressive. Knew he had the Guardian's Angel, so it was like, look, if I go down, it doesn't matter. I just need to separate top esports away from the rest of them. And as you say, keeping your eyes on Xiaohu here, just kind of picking up people right, left, and center after Gala flashes in to be the true carry. It's like, you know what? You're flying on the wings of Gala here, Xiaohu.
You know, I saw the triple kill after commentating that fight, and I was like, oh, I missed a trick on that one. It was all about Xiaohu. No, it wasn't. He was just last hitting people, let's be honest. Here we go, though. Elder onto the map. 10 seconds time, Dagda.
Yeah, and you've even got a big wave pushing in topside as well. The top esports are going to have to be careful of, so you can't really take your time. You need to find the fight.
Oh, Tien trying to go aggressive here. Way looking for Mark, but that's really not the target he wants. Bin on the top side of the play. Can turn Meganar shortly, but it's a little while. Shadow Surge in, looking for Dragon of the Fear is there! Moonlight Vigil, the combo from the carries! RNG, they do it again!
And there's the Xiaohu trick, pulling out the ultimate from Jackie Love, and just waits that little bit of time before he follows up on his own ult to get into position onto Jackie Love, and just like that, Elder Dragon now for RNG.
And it feels like the longer the game goes, the stronger RNG get. Top esports felt like they had the number in the early game, but once we get to these team fights, once we get to map play, RNG have had complete control.
And we're seeing why these carries have been touted about so often on RNG's side. Xiaohu has taken a step back and kind of letting Gala take the main role here, but Xiaohu can still pull off these incredible plays, and it's because Xiaohu's taken on like multiple roles of trying to play more utility, trying to protect Wei, trying to facilitate side lanes, and it's been Gala who's been the main benefactor of that, and the 1-2 punch there from Xiaohu and Gala, kind of a pat on the back from both of them to just show what they can do when given the opportunity.
And it's a bit of a heartbreaker for Jaculov as well, because he actually ulted in time to dodge the Shadow Surge, but it hits the end, so there's only so much you can do, you know. Cleanse available for the next fight for Jaculov, though, and honestly, I feel like he's suddenly the man we've got to watch out for, right? Because not in terms of carrying the fight, in terms of can RNG just take him out? Because consistently, the answer has been yes.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been tough as well, because at least in my mind, right, I imagine Knight kind of comes in on top of that, makes sure that you're able to get that big magic shield. It kind of denies a lot of follow-up, but when you're being like hit by this 1-2 punch so quickly, it doesn't really give you the opportunity for Knight to follow up, and now RNG, with firm control, able to push in onto this tower. There's just nothing they can do.
The tower's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone in a split second. Look at TN. He's going to hold the wave. He's going to deny the push from RNG. I love this creative play from Top Esports, but there's 2 melee minions. That's enough for RNG to end the game. Remember, there's only 1 tower remaining under that Nexus right now. In goes Wei, looking for a kick on Jaculov. Solar Flare in. Remember, they have Elder Dragon and more than enough damage to proc it. Double stopwatch in. Wayward looking for resets, but he'll find none of them. RNG start their finals strong and take over Game 1.
And it's a similar story to what we got last time these two teams faced off. Early prowess from Top Esports, mid-game dominance from RNG. And that's where RNG have been able to fight back time and time again. And now you're looking, going, here, Top, you had the tools. You could have tried to play side lanes, but you tried to take the fight. You try to figure out how you can try and make plays happen around the map, but RNG are outperforming you every time it comes into these big aggressive fights. Gala and Ming popping off, and you end up in a situation again where everything is falling down around you.
And I just love the synergy we saw between Xiaohu and Gala there. I love that Gala is one of these players that he's played a massive amount of Aphelios. He is so happy to be that aggressive Aphelios. He has no issues gale forcing forwards, flashing forwards to make the play alongside Xiaohu. And time again, it's something beautiful to witness. It's to the point where I wonder whether Aphelios is allowed to be given over to Gala.
Well, that's the thing. Like, they're not surprised by the draft that we got here, right? Because even when we look back at game number 4 from the previous series, it was the exact same basically opening segment, right? Where you're looking at, oh, we're actually... RNG prioritized the Lee Sin higher than they prioritized the Xayah. So you end up giving the Xayah across. You think, okay, well, Xayah, the Viego can kind of do their thing, but Gala has been perfectly happy to go, hey, look, we're just going to take it slow. We know that Top Esports mid-game isn't strong, so we're just going to go scale for late. We're going to bring in this Aphelios, combat the Xayah in the later portion of the game, and make sure we can carry through those late game fights.
Certainly worked for them. Certainly did so far. As I don't know, the blind Galio, once again, I'm not necessarily on board. Just Galio for Knight, I'm not really on board with, because I feel like Knight has had such a good split. Knight is this player that can be the carry, but it feels like this Top Esports squad feel that he needs to be a facilitator. Like, consistently, we've seen across playoffs that Knight is trending towards things like the Galio and more supportive mid lane.
Yeah, but I don't fully agree with it. Like, I think it's just unfortunate, obviously, with the bans we're seeing coming through, but he has looked a lot better in things like the Ahri. His Vex, honestly, has been really, really good. His Rise has been great, but we got the Ahri and the Rise bans that we kind of pointed out at the start, that saying, hey, look, you know, they're already trying to get rid of these things that can start to roam around, and it just feels like, unfortunately, for Knight, he's just not been given the tools to have the impact that he wants. So maybe we get, like, an early priority on the LeBlanc, because it was actually, you know, Top Esports that banned away the LeBlanc. I'd love to see him on something that does have that damage, that does have that ability to carry, because it does feel like you're just hamstringing Top Esports without giving him something with that control.
Yeah, I still think back to that Knight LeBlanc at the Mid-Season Cup back in 2020, where he had Yu Yantra on his shoulder, his pet cat, just literally 1v5, 1v4, something like that, finding a triple kill. It was mind-blowing, so beautiful to witness, and I would love to see something like that out from Knight in the finals, because I don't feel like this Galio, he has that flexibility. But across the rest of the board, you know, players like Wayward, so close many times to finding the miracle play, but not quite able to put it together. And it feels like that's down to RNG working so well as a unit in these 5v5s that they're covering every angle.
Well, I think it's a bit of both, right? Because when I look at like top esports, I just don't think you need to try and take these fights in a lot of situations, right? I think Wayward played this early game phenomenally, where he got this lead for himself. Was like, cool, I'm going to step up and I'm going to try and be the carry here. But oftentimes we kind of saw top esports disjointed when it came to our big team fights. Whereas you say like for RNG, it was like, hey, we're going to play en masse as a unit, way willing to like give his life in certain situations to make sure that he can make sure